Welcome back to The Explainer. So, in our last sessions, we've touched on chapters 1 and 2 of Dr. Siegfried Castell Britton's incredible book, Dangerous Minds. Today, we're diving deep into the very heart of his work, into chapter 3, to explore this journey from a silent wound to a dangerous act and the path back to hope.
Okay, let's just start with this powerful idea from Dr. Britton, because it really sets the stage for everything we're going to talk about. He's not just saying this to be poetic. He sees it as a diagnosis. It completely reframes how we look at crime, right? It's not about someone being born evil, but about the tragic, almost inevitable consequence of a child's pain being completely ignored.
So this is where it all begins. Dr. Britton is really clear on this. We're not talking about people who are born bad. We're talking about how they're made. And it often starts in a home where silence isn't peaceful. It's a survival tactic. A silence that's heavy, filled with fear, exhaustion, and all this unspoken pain.
To really get this, Dr. Britton introduces us to Mateo, a young boy from Medellin. That's pronounced Medellin. Mateo's story is kind of the central thread through this part of the book. And his life, well, it's not a childhood, it's a job. He's carrying this immense, invisible weight on his shoulders every single day.
And here's the thing about Mateo's pain. It's silent. He's the good kid, the one nobody worries about because he's quiet and obedient. But that obedience is just a mask for what's really going on. He's not lazy in class. He is absolutely exhausted from a life that's all about just surviving to the next day.
Now, what's really fascinating is how Dr. Britton breaks down this silence. He says it's not empty at all. It's a lesson, a brutal one. It teaches a kid that trust is dangerous, that any kindness you get is probably temporary. It basically rewires your brain to always be on high alert, always scanning for the next threat, instead of looking for connection.
Okay, so this wound is festering on the inside. What happens next? What happens when a child, who has never ever been taught how to talk about their feelings, needs to scream? Well, when words fail, they find another way to speak.
They start to speak through their actions. And this is a key concept in Dr. Britton's work, something he calls invisible learning. It's where the street takes over as the teacher, because the home and school have gone silent. And the lessons on the street, they're all about survival, fear, and power. It's a tough classroom, but it offers one thing they desperately need: a way to finally be seen.
This quote from a 17-year-old in his study just says it all, doesn't it? It's not about the money. It's not about the stuff. It's about existence. The crime is a shout. It's a desperate primal scream saying, "I am here, I exist, see me." So you end up with this really stark contrast. You've got the official school system, which can sometimes accidentally teach kids that their voice just doesn't matter. And then you have the street, which teaches the exact opposite. Fear makes people listen. And a gang? Well, it might be the first time they've ever felt like they belong to anything.
But the story doesn't stop with the crime. This is where Dr. Britton's research gets even more profound. He takes us from the outside world, from the act itself, deep into the internal world of the mind. And this, he says, is where the real prison is.
He poses this incredible question that just completely shifts your perspective. Forget the iron bars for a second. What if the real prison is made of memories? This is what he means by the inner prison. It's a mind that's trapped by its own trauma. And to survive that trauma, the brain does something pretty incredible. It builds walls. One of the biggest is called dissociation. It's like the mind just unplugs the emotion from the memory. They can remember what happened, but they remember it like they're watching a movie about someone else. It was me, but it wasn't me. It's a defense mechanism, but it comes at a huge cost.
So the real sentence isn't the time served, it's emotional. It's the mind that once felt way too much, deciding, you know what? I'm never feeling anything again. It's safer this way. Guilt, fear, memory. Those become the walls of a cell that no judge can sentence you to. The mind just shuts down.
Okay, so if the prison is inside the mind, how do you get out? Is there even a key? Well, this is where Dr. Britton's work becomes so important. He doesn't just point out the problem, he actually offers a way forward, a path to healing.
He's the creator of something called identity restoration theory, or IRT for short. And it's pretty revolutionary. It says, hey, let's stop just focusing on punishment. The real goal should be rehabilitation. Not just stopping bad behavior, but actually helping someone rebuild their identity, reconnecting all those wires between feeling, morality, and belonging.
And it's basically a 3-step process. First up, recognition. That means helping someone see themselves beyond just their crime, to remember who they were before it all went wrong. Then comes responsibility, and this is huge. Dr. Britton makes a distinction between shame, which just isolates you, and responsibility, which actually connects you back to your own story. It's about owning it. And finally, reconciliation. This is about turning that wound into wisdom, so your past is part of you, but it doesn't get to decide your future.
So what's so powerful about IRT is that it's not just some academic theory. It's a real, practical roadmap for rebuilding a human being. It's based on this incredible, hopeful idea. If a brain can learn fear, it can unlearn it. It can be retrained for trust.
And that really brings us to the ultimate message of the book, which is so powerful. It's that the only way to break the cycle of violence is to first understand it. And let's be clear, this is not about making excuses for crime. It's about understanding where it comes from so we can actually stop it from happening again.
I mean, this quote just sums up his entire philosophy, right? Hope isn't about pretending the wound isn't there. It's about looking it straight in the eye, accepting it, and then transforming it. Giving that pain a new purpose, turning it from something that destroys into something that can actually build.
And this is why this book is so essential. It's not just some textbook for psychologists. This is for educators. It's for policymakers. Honestly, it's for anyone who wants to build a safer, more empathetic world. It gives us the tools to actually hear the silence before it explodes into violence.
Look, we've only scratched the surface of Chapter 3 here. There is so much more incredible insight in this book. It's called Dangerous Minds by Dr. Siegfried Castell Britton, and you can find it on Amazon. We really recommend it. It's one of those reads that will genuinely change how you see things.
So, we'll leave you with the same haunting question that Dr. Britton leaves his readers with. A question that forces us to stop looking only at the crime and start looking at the long, deafening silence that came before it. It's a question for all of us, really.